Let's be honest for a second. If you feel like you're working harder than ever, but your bank account never seems to grow, the problem isn't that you don't make enough money, it's what you're doing with the money you have. We love to blame the economy, inflation, or bad luck, but the reality is that wealth is rarely built by accident, it is built by behavior. Unfortunately, most of us are walking around with financial blind spots, small, seemingly innocent habits that are quietly siphoning our wealth away. If you are ready to stop living paycheck to paycheck and start building a future that actually feels secure, you need to identify the leaks. Here are 10 bad money habits that are keeping you broke, and more importantly, how to fix them. 1. Paying yourself last. If you save or invest only what's left over after spending, you will rarely save anything. Human nature dictates that expenses expand to fill available income. The fix: automate your savings. Treat your savings account like a non-negotiable bill that must be paid the second your paycheck hits. 2. Using credit cards for everyday expenses without paying immediately. Relying on credit to buy groceries or gas creates spending blindness. You aren't feeling the pain of the transaction, which leads to overspending. If you carry a balance, you are effectively paying $1.20 for every $1 you spend due to interest. The fix: use a debit card or cash for variable expenses. If you use a credit card for points, pay off the balance weekly, not monthly. 3. The "it's just a small purchase" mentality. A $5 coffee, a $15 lunch, and a $20 monthly subscription you don't use don't feel like they matter. But micro-spending is often the biggest leak in a budget. $20 a day on convenience spending equals roughly $7,300 a year, a used car, a vacation, or a maxed-out Roth IRA. The fix: track every single transaction for 30 days. You'll likely be horrified enough to stop. 4. Lifestyle inflation. Getting a raise or a bonus is the most dangerous financial moment for most people. Instead of using the extra money to build wealth, they upgrade their lifestyle: a nicer apartment, a leased luxury car, or more expensive clothes. They feel richer but remain broke. The fix: every time you get a raise, save 50% of the after-tax increase before you ever see it in your checking account. 5. Renting your wealth away. Owning a depreciating asset, like a new car, with a high monthly payment is a wealth killer. People often spend more on their car payment than they do on their rent or mortgage, not accounting for the fact that the car loses 20–30% of its value the moment it leaves the lot. The fix: follow the 23-8 rule for cars. Put 20% down, finance for no more than 3 years, and ensure the monthly payment is no more than 8% of your gross income. Better yet, buy reliable used cars with cash. 6. Ignoring high-interest debt. Making only the minimum payment on credit cards or payday loans is a trap. Because of compound interest, a $5,000 balance can take over 20 years to pay off at the minimum, costing you over $10,000 in interest. The fix: treat high-interest debt over 7–8% like a fire in your house. Stop investing and stop once until it is extinguished. 7. Not having a budget because you think you're good. Intelligent people often think they don't need a budget because they pay their bills on time. But without a budget, you have no permission to spend. You either feel guilty spending money on things you enjoy, or you overspend and wonder where the money went. The fix: give every dollar a job before the month begins. Zero-based budgeting. You can't manage money you refuse to track. 8. The "I deserve it" trap. After a hard week, you convince yourself you deserve a $200 dinner, a luxury handbag, or a new gadget. While self-care is important, using emotional justification to rationalize purchases keeps you in a cycle of working hard just to spend hard, with no net worth growth. The fix: separate emotions from transactions. Implement a 30-day rule for any non-essential purchase over a certain amount, $50, $100. If you still want it in 30 days, buy it then. 9. Neglecting your career earnings. Being broke is often a math problem. You cannot cut your way to wealth if your income is too low. Many people spend years obsessing over a $3 monthly subscription fee, but never invest the time to ask for a raise, update their resume, or learn a high-income skill. The fix: dedicate 10 hours a month to career maintenance, networking, upskilling, or applying for better roles. Your earning potential is your greatest wealth-building tool. 10. Keeping up with the Joneses. Trying to look wealthy is the fastest way to stay broke. Whether it's buying the newest iPhone to impress friends, taking vacations to post on Instagram, or buying a house that stretches you thin to keep up with peers, spending for external validation is a bottomless pit. The fix: focus on net worth, not self-worth. Realize that most people who look rich are actually drowning in debt. True wealth is quiet, it's what you don't show. Breaking these habits isn't about deprivation, it's about redirection. You don't have to cut out everything you love overnight, but you do have to start being honest with yourself. Wealth isn't built by what you earn occasionally, it's built by what you keep consistently. Look at this list and pick just one habit, the one that resonates the most, and commit to fixing it this week. Don't try to overhaul your entire life in a day, just plug the biggest leak. Because until you change how you behave with money, more money won't solve your problems. It will just buy you more expensive problems. Start small, stay consistent, and watch your freedom grow. You're working harder than ever, more hours, more effort, more mental energy, and yet your financial situation doesn't improve. In fact, it might even be getting worse. This is a frustrating and common paradox. So let's break down why working harder doesn't automatically lead to a growing bank account. First, there's what I call the effort versus value mismatch. When you work harder, you're usually trading time for money, hourly wages, salary, overtime. But there's a hard ceiling on that strategy. There are only 24 hours in a day. The trap is that if you get a raise, you just work harder to earn more. But the moment you get sick, tired, or burned out, the money stops. Real wealth isn't built by trading time. It's built by trading value, owning assets, solving problems at scale, working smarter. Hard work without leverage, like systems, employees, or investments, will never make you truly rich. Then there's lifestyle inflation. This is the number one reason high earners stay broke. Every time your income goes up, your standard of living goes up immediately. Let's say you get a $5,000 raise. Before you even see that money, you upgrade your apartment, lease a nicer car. Start eating out more. The raise is gone before it arrives. So you're working harder for money you already spent. Your effort increased, but your net worth stayed exactly the same. Taxes also take a bigger bite than you might expect. Tax brackets are progressive, which means if you work 20 hours of overtime, that extra income is often taxed at your highest marginal rate. Between federal taxes, state taxes, and FICA, you can lose roughly 35% of your overtime before you ever see it. You worked 10 extra hours, and your paycheck only went up by $200. That feels terrible. And subconsciously, you start valuing that extra effort less and less. Then there's the hidden killer. Fatigue leads to convenience spending. When you work harder, you get tired. And when you get tired, you pay for convenience. A long work week leaves you too exhausted to cook, so you order delivery. Too tired to meal prep, so you buy expensive lunch. Too tired to fix a leaky faucet, so you call a handyman. Suddenly, you earned an extra $300 from overtime, but you spent $350 on convenience because you were too exhausted to live frugally. You actually lost money by working harder. Here's another hard truth. You might be solving the wrong problem. Working harder is a tactic. A growing bank account requires a strategy. You could work 60 hours a week as a cashier, but you will never grow your bank account significantly. The problem isn't your effort, it's the leverage of your role. If you want your bank account to grow, you often need to stop working harder at your current job and start working smarter on your skills, your side business, or your career trajectory. And finally, stress spending is a coping mechanism. High effort creates high cortisol, which is stress. And to cope with that stress, your brain craves dopamine, shopping, gambling, eating out, drinking, buying gadgets. You aren't buying things because you need them. You're buying them to medicate the exhaustion of working so hard. That creates a vicious cycle. Hard work leads to stress, which leads to spending, which leads to guilt, which leads to working harder to pay off debt, which leads to more stress and more spending. So here's the bottom line. Working harder grows your gross income, but changing your habits grows your net worth. If your bank account isn't growing, chances are a combination of things is eating your money. Taxes take a chunk, lifestyle inflation takes another chunk, and convenience and stress spending take the rest. The fix is counterintuitive. Stop working harder, start working less on earning money and more on auditing where your current money is going. Because a $500 leak in a bucket will keep you poor, no matter how fast you pour water in.